Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Domestic Boyfriends podcast, where we talk about movies, anime, TV shows, comic books, manga, whatever the heck we want to talk about. My name's Dean, and always with me is my co-host Vincent.
God, I love sinkholes in China.
God, I love sinkholes in China. It's almost like a relevant topic with what today's topic is. Kind
I
of.
know, right? It's kind of crazy.
Kind of.
I should have saved it for this episode.
Yeah. Oh well. So, welcome back to another episode. This week's topic, we watched the movie Bubble on Netflix. If you remember our first episode, Vincent was ecstatic for this movie. And after watching it, I gotta say, like, despite the fact that it was super, super stacked with, like, who was working on it, I really, like, held really low regard with, like, going into it. But man, this was a great movie. But we'll be getting there in a little bit. First off, for news, Vincent, if you want to start us from the top.
Sure thing. Well, we had some fun traction from Sony in the box office yet again. After weeks and weeks of memes about Morbius, Sony decided that since everyone loved that movie so much the first time it came to theaters, they would bring it back for another weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And fortunately for them, the first time they brought it, it made just over $280,000. You know, really, really horrible for a modern day movie, especially with the budget that was thrown at it. And this time that it was brought back, it did even worse. It only made $85,000. Shocking, really no one. But because of that, it has spawned one of my new favorite memes on change.org. I don't know if you've seen the petition.
What the heck?
Okay, great, you haven't. There's a petition that is just over 27,000 signatures in. That is titled, "We were all busy that weekend. Please bring Morbius to the theater a third time."
That's so great. Oh my gosh. It's Morbin time.
I still have not seen it.
I also haven't. I think the Morbin time memes are so funny. I think it's funnier to go to r/Power Rangers and everybody there get triggered by the Morbin. They get triggered by the It's Morbin time memes. It's really funny.
That's so funny.
That's great. That's great.
That's all I've got for movies. I don't know about you.
So I have something quick, and then I'm gonna backpedal a little bit. So,
Lovely.
I don't keep up with SAO anymore. But the Sword Art Online movie is slated for September 10th. It's called Progressive Shreidzo of Deep Night. It sounds like a complicated animated movie title. Yeah, I dropped SAO after like after Gun Gale. I heard the season 3 was really good for my friend, like when he read the novel or the manga. But I haven't kept up with all these years. I really liked SAO, but kind of just fell off my radar. And just a couple Marvel things that I have. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness is going to be on Disney Plus on the 22nd of June. So in next week. Next Wednesday. Yeah, that's so quick.
That is a very quick turnaround.
That's like less than a month or a month. Which is crazy, but also box office hit. So they probably made their money back.
Yeah.
And then Ironheart, a Disney Plus production, has started filming. Really fun. I'm really interested with something that I don't think a lot of people have talked about, but it's definitely something that's brewing in the background, especially with what they've announced, is the fact that like Tony Stark's dead, so it's a really interesting take on where they could do what they could do with it, because the whole point of the Armor Wars saga in the comics was the fact that Tony was getting his stuff stolen from under his nose and by people that he knew, and it started this big war with people that have the same technology as him. And now the Armor Wars seems like it's like Tony's benefactors trying to resolve a very similar issue where in his death, like Stark Industries is probably going through a power struggle and like all of his technology and knowledge is being spread around. Which is exactly opposite. This is like that was the whole point of the first Iron Man movie. You know, he didn't want his stuff to be used for the wrong things, and after he died, that's exactly what his family is trying to stop.
Yeah.
Really interested, really interested. Um, yeah, I'll throw out a couple things, and then so I didn't know about this, but I did know about something related to this. I heard that um, Tim Burton was supposed to be doing something with the Addams Family, but apparently Netflix has a Wednesday Addams show that they're working on, and we got a trailer for it. I saw it on my Twitter feed, and I was just like, "Oh, this is a thing," and like I liked the Addams Family growing up. I thought it was cool. The Resident Evil Netflix series is slotted for July 14th. I did not know about this. I think I heard about this last year, and I just got this also in my Twitter feed. Uh, yeah, yeah, and I guess to mark off the regular stuff before we get into anything animated, Squid Game season 2 and a very special promotion that Vincent will talk about.
Squid Game The Challenge is going to be a reality TV show that Netflix will be hosting where contestants will be able to compete for $4.56 million in cash. I don't know if they've put out like a proper like I don't know.
A bulletin.
I was gonna say like sign your life away documents, but I doubt that they're actually going to put anyone in danger. But I'm wondering if they're actually going to try to like just reenact the games from the show. They have to play
but
red
not,
light, green light,
but not like kill everybody.
yeah. My biggest guess, because they need to do red light, green light, is maybe I don't maybe they're just gonna have a bunch of like pro paintball players like lined up at the top, and if they see people move, they'll just fucking shoot
I thought you
someone.
were gonna say pro wrestlers, and I was just like, to
Pro
tackle them.
wrestlers just running RKO.
I imagine that it's gonna be something like what's it called in Japan? It was just like something.
Oh, Takeshi's
crazy.
Challenge.
Yeah, it'd be like Takeshi's Challenge meets Total Drama Island. That's how I imagine that it would be.
If that's how it is, then I am absolutely going to watch it. If not that, I will try to compete.
Support Vincent.
At the very least, like I don't care if I win, but this just sounds like it'll be fun. You know?
I imagine, or like aren't YouTubers doing something? Didn't they do something like that? I don't remember.
Yes, actually. Mr. Beast did host his own Squid Game.
Yeah, I kind of remember.
He also recently did he made his own Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and did a challenge to give it away.
Oh, whatchamacallit? His chocolate bar. My nephew's like kind of obsessed with Mr. Beast, but like in a healthy way. And my brother-in-law bought like the Mr. Beast bars. The chocolate is actually pretty good.
I haven't tried it. I've seen the video where Gordon Ramsay tried his chocolate versus a $400 chocolate bar, and Gordon Ramsay just like destroyed Mr. B.
I think Mr. I definitely think like it's definitely a lot healthier than eating a Hershey's bar.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I would, because like the thing about okay, we're gonna go on a tangent about chocolate. So
Okay, great.
this is where the episode's gonna go. So the thing about American chocolate, so people who live in Europe hate American chocolate, right? Because American chocolate, unlike chocolate that's made in Europe, holds a chemical that's made in like the shelving that's like used for like the what's it called? Like to make it shelf stable, right?
Yeah.
And the same chemical is something that is a byproduct of vomit.
Oh,
So like the same chemical.
what?
They're not taking people's vomit. It's just the same chemical is
Yeah, no, of
created out of
course.
vomit. The same chemical they created to make it shelf stable, right? So
I didn't
when
know
people in
vomit had a
Europe,
preservative in it.
well, it's something that's like created from like the stomach acid and like different combinations of things in your stomach, right?
Okay.
But like everybody creates it when they vomit, right? So that same chemical is something they created in a lab. Well, it's the same element. So when that's why people in Europe come over to America and eat a Hershey's bar, they're just like, it tastes like throw up. That's why they hate American chocolate.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they're just like, it literally tastes like throw up because people who are like Americans who consume like Hershey's chocolate, that's the only chocolate they really know.
Yeah, they
know what I
grew
mean?
up with it. They're familiar with the taste.
So they're used to the taste and they don't associate it with that, right? Meanwhile, people in Europe, if they have vomited before, they would taste chocolate. They'd be like, "Oh my god, this tastes like exactly like when I vomited." So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. I don't know where I learned that fact before, but I think it
very
might have.
interesting.
I had to have been like a YouTube video or something like that. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting because like I used to think that Europeans just shitted on American chocolate just because like a posh English thing. But it was
Yeah.
actually like scientifically proven that they don't like it because it tastes like throw up to them. And of course, Americans aren't they're not like, oh, like this doesn't taste like throw up. This tastes like throw up. Well, this only chocolate they know. Like most other chocolate bars are just made by Hershey. So
Yeah.
yeah, fun fact for today.
Huh.
Onward with the news. Go ahead, Vincent.
Very interesting. Well, I've got nothing else for TV, but moving on to video games if you're down to move on to there.
I actually have three more. So we have
Snag it.
we have a couple seasons of stuff. So Vinland Saga season 2, Mob Psycho season 3. I'm a really big fan of Mob Psycho, and Vinland Saga is actually really good. I want to collect that physically, manga wise. And last thing, we got the first look at live action One Piece stuff for the Netflix series. I hope and pray. I love One Piece, and I want everything in the live action to go well, so like it becomes even more mainstream and like it has a bigger audience, so like they can bring more stuff over to the West. But my biggest hope is that there's so much passion. One of the producers is apparently a One Piece fan, and he's like in his early 30s.
Good. That's
And,
great.
Like, it gives me hope. Or he's like a
That's-
screenwriter or producer or something like that.
That's wonderful. I am tired of people like making these like live action versions of things and being seemingly proud of the fact that they've just not been a part of the source material so that their image or vision for it isn't tainted. It's exactly what happened with the Halo live action TV series and why I refused to watch it. None of the production team has played or read anything Halo related. And they say that they state that proudly, which is probably why that Jeep was there.
Like I understand adaptations, but then there's just stripping things from a material and then just slapping it onto something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's a good example? I guess Halo would be the best example in modern times. Like, they just don't know what they're adapting. And with One Piece, I just hope Death Note. Death Note's like an odd take, but like, I feel like some adaptations just lose what's there. I have the same excitement that I do for the One Piece adaptation that I do for everything that's going to be happening for Avatar. It's weird. Like, it's so weird. Like I hold One Piece to like this golden standard, but like everything that's happening to Avatar and everything that's happening in the Percy Jackson series that like is getting announced and everything, I hold them on high.
Looks good.
I hold them both on like high regard. Like I really hope these work. Speaking of which, go ahead. Go ahead.
We might be about to talk about the same thing, and I forgot to mention it during movies. 3 new, they haven't said titles, they haven't said anything more than it, but they have said that 3 new animated Avatar The Last Airbender movies are in production.
Which is like, there's so much they could do, and I just hope there's the Dark Horse comics, which take place like before Legend of Korra and like a couple years after Aang defeats the Fire Lord, and like it's a lot. It's you get to see what happens. Like it takes a very political and it takes like a very geopolitical turn because like this like the Fire Nation's been ruling for so long, and you know moving people out of these spaces that they've already lived in for how many years would be wrong. And one of my favorite conflicts that is like the first conflict that happens in the beginning of the series is like they're trying to move the Fire Nation out of Ba Sing Se, right? And like people have literally like Fire Nation residents who have migrated to the Earth Kingdom have lived there for years, and they have kids that are like
they have full life set up,
almost the same age as Aang, and like biologically, and like they can't just tear these families apart just to restore the way that the Four Nations used to be. And like Zuko has big problems with it because Aang's trying to do that, and like they're creating like the industrialization's happening, and like Toph's helping out of this one guy who's making a factory, and yeah, so many things. You find out what happens to Zuko's mom, and how people's relationships start to bud, and yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I have so much hope.
Yeah, and then the Percy Jackson stuff. What I was gonna say is there's this. I don't know if I've talked about this before. I don't know if I talked about it last episode or I just talked to you previously about it. But there's a bookstore. I thought it was gonna be like a thrift shop for books, but it's actually like a bookstore that like has a lot of stuff. Like it had a bunch of D&D stuff, for cheap, like source books and everything like that. By the way, me and Vincent every other week play in a friend's D&D campaign. So if you guys are interested in D&D and want us to talk about stuff like that, hit us up. But they had like 5 complete collections of the Percy Jackson series.
Nice.
Like the original ones, and then they had all of like the books after within this. That's like in the same.
Yeah,
universe.
the Heroes of Olympus.
Yeah, they had all of those things too, and like.
Did they have the Red Pyramid series?
I
this the
think
Egyptian
so.
ones.
Yeah, no, they definitely had those. Those were like their own shelf. Yeah,
Good.
it was crazy.
Underrated. Those ones underrated.
Yeah, it was like the one thing that I was actually really looking at. There's this
biggest of recommendations.
There's this if you're into Greek mythology, I'm about to plug something that I found randomly on TikTok, and I love it. I've been following it for like months now. This guy is making you'll love this. You did theater in high school.
Is it the messy blonde-haired dude who talks about like the weird things that happened in Greek mythology?
No. So
okay,
there's this guy on TikTok, and from scratch he started and outlined a play, a musical of a rendition of the Odyssey.
Okay,
and
cool.
He created 48 songs, start to finish, that tell the story. 4 acts, or what is it in theater? In theater, it's like Act 1, Act 2, the break, and then Act 3, Act 4.
Yeah,
something like that. He created all of the songs. He got people. See, this is the lovely thing about the internet. He was able to people can duet him on TikTok, and give their audition to get to have their voice as the actual god or goddess or person in the Odyssey that he has the song after. They just recently went to Mexico to record the first part, the first album, voice-wise, for the play. It's called Epic. It's Epic the Musical. That's what it's called. It's a rendition of the Odyssey. And he's doing the first album, which is going to be the first fourth of the play. And it's amazing. It sounds amazing. The guy he has like a separate TikTok page where like he like works out, and it's supposed to be his evolution because he wants to play Odysseus in the actual play. It's really funny because like everybody who is voiced cast already is a theater kid, so like all of them like actually want to play their part when like someone picks it up so they can go like on Broadway to do a play. It's an amazing journey that started with just a guy that did TikTok and wanted to like show people his journey to like a big community of people that want this theater production to become a real thing. I'll link it to you afterwards. The music is so good. And like he has like different thematic elements, like all the songs like like in theater, like there's like a tempo you have to have, like certain things have to play into the story or the mood or stuff like that, like lighting, music, like actual physical movement stuff. And like in the music, like he has different elements to it. Like the gods, whenever like it's a song about the gods, like each god has like a specific instrument that goes with them, right? Or like each character does, right? So in all of their songs, or whenever that person is featured in a song, their instrument is also in the song. But only when they sing, good. Right? So like when somebody's in a song, or like you can tell like they're in the song because of the instrument, or like you can hear the instrument because they're in the song. And then like the gods, because of their like magical and godly power, they have techno music. Like they're very electronic. So like
that's really good.
We still have news to talk about, and then we still have to talk about Bubble. I'm done with my tangent. Go ahead.
All right. Well, moving on to video games. We've got a lot of stuff that happened in the past 2 weeks. A lot of game announcements. This time of year would be when E3 happens. Unfortunately, this year, due to COVID, E3 was canceled for the first time ever. They might have canceled before. I'm not too sure, but it's definitely not happened in a long time at the very least. They have said that they will be coming back next year, which is great. But during some of these conferences, during Sony's conference in particular, Street Fighter 6 was officially announced and shown off. We have a couple new characters getting added to the roster. Ryu has a beard and looks like a Chad.
Ken's a single dad.
God, poor Ken.
So funny.
This is going to be taking place story-wise after the events of Street Fighter 4, so we're actually going to see a continuation of the proper story.
Yeah.
Because 5 was a retelling, I believe, of the just origin. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing, did you watch the conference? Did you see the stuff about Street Fighter 6?
No, I just only watched the trailers. I've only seen like the trailers and stuff.
Okay, I think they showed it off in the trailer. You know about the one major thing that's going to be happening in this game that no other Street Fighter game has had?
No.
If you had, I've asked this question to everyone. If you had to guess what one major feature that has never been in a Street Fighter game before,
is it the button
would be
thing?
added to this?
Is it the control scheme? Are you talking about the control schemes?
No. It's one major feature in a video game that has never been present in a Street Fighter game before, and it's going to be added to this one. This is going to be an open world Street Fighter game where you get to create your own character. It's also going to have full crossplay on launch.
Oh no! I mean, oh yeah, for that, but like,
Yeah.
oh,
From my understanding, there's like just a bunch of hubs and stuff that you can go to and then just challenge people on the street to fights. But like open world Street Fighter?
it's the custom.
What?
It's the custom character that's making me so. Oh no, no, I think Open World
Oh,
Street Fighter. That sounds really cool.
yeah. I'm excited to see where they go with it. I've always been a fan of Street Fighter. I'm not good at it,
I thought you were talking
but I've had
about.
fun.
I thought you were talking about the new control scheme. So like if so you can have like so they dumbed it down even more. So like you can have like the original
I
where
could
like
play this one.
they have like the original one where like you can do like the hard combo inputs, and then they have like the
Yeah.
easy one, and then they have
Yeah.
the super baby easy one where like you just press a button in a direction and it'll do a full combo for you.
Uh,
But
they
it
put a
won't.
Vincent feature into the game.
But like
Wonderful.
it
I
won't
love it.
do the same amount of damage as like the person doing the hard combos.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's what I took away from all of that. Was Ryu looked like a hobo even more? Kid was a single dad. Yeah.
Another thing that I saw, Starfield. The game that we've been waiting to hear and see gameplay for. We finally got a release window as well as proper gameplay. I don't know if we got a release window. I didn't see the trailer proper.
I don't think
We're
we
gonna
did.
have over 1,000 planets to go to, and out of the 1,000 planets they could have chosen to properly show us, the one that I ended up seeing was the one that looked like it was a Fallout game. So I really thought that what I was watching initially when I hopped in was just a new expansion for Fallout 76. It has the same robots, the turrets are the same. What is going on?
I'm gonna do this until the end of time because like so far I'm striking. I'm 10 out of 10. I'm striking 100 out. I will never hold anticipation for games like this ever again. Like
Yeah.
these sci-fi games no longer hold my attention because they're never good on their promises. Who's making this again?
It's Bethesda. Like, actually, Bethesda.
Okay, well that still doesn't lead credence for anything.
No.
So like it happened back when what was the first game that it happened to? I think it might have been No Man's Sky. Like everybody
I'd say
was
No Man's Sky was a huge one.
well, No Man's Sky was like it had it okay. So No Man's Sky was the first one where it was just like everybody was just like, "Oh my gosh, like this is going to be the best game ever." Flopped. Terrible. Had the biggest video game bounce back of the century though.
It's the game that they promised us on launch now.
Yeah.
If not more.
What, two and a half years later?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. If not more, just waited 2 years, stuff like that. And oh my gosh, is this person actually here? Okay, wrong person. Sorry, I got sidetracked by something. And the next one would be Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk
Yeah.
wasn't like a flop, but like it definitely wasn't good for everybody. Like if you were even people that had even people that had 3080s at the time, which they released it at the time of it being of graphics card being scalped. Like people were struggling to run it. And I think it's better now, but
It's completely functional from my understanding.
yeah, but like again, these aren't like we're not getting games. We're not getting full game releases anymore. We're getting early betas that are getting released later that are getting content updates. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In Cyberpunk's case, they really didn't want to release that game. They did it, moreover, just to get people off their backs and to like protect the sanity of their development team, because their people on their team were receiving death threats.
Yeah, I remember when everything like that was going down.
That-
It's the duality
so-
it's the duality of like how people are with like because like it's the same thing with like anime and manga where people were sending stuff to like what was it? People were sending stuff to Mappa and like Mappa's people are overworked and like yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. But have the same regard for Starfield. It will be on. I'll see how it goes after the first couple months.
I'm gonna have fun watching it on YouTube.
Yeah, I will definitely have fun watching it on YouTube.
Donkey's gonna have a fun time, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Last thing I got for video games is that the Grammys have added a video game score category to their
What?
yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah. It's officially on there now. Isn't that cool?
That's how we're gonna get past everything that's been happening at award shows recently.
Dude. We're gonna I wonder what the Will Smith slap of the video game score category will be. We're one step away from esports finally hitting well, not one step away, but we're one step closer to the esports finally going into the Olympics. Someday.
Did you know some universities have esports scholarships?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that ESPN has an entire channel for esports is like we're getting there.
Finally, recognition.
Yeah. I have a couple more things before we end off news that we could talk about our main
Nice.
event. I'll leave best for last. So, video games, Nickelodeon All Stars has voice acting and items. Nickelodeon is trying to bounce back because the WB did what they released better.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah, Multiverse
too
is
late.
just too hyped. It's too good.
It's too good, and it's gonna be free to play.
And they have a lot more IPs than Nickelodeon has.
Oh my
Nickelodeon has okay, I take it back. Nickelodeon has Power Rangers.
That's fine.
Nickelodeon has Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think that's about it though. That I can think of. Also, out of left field, have you seen the videos of the Gundam in Japan moving?
Well, I saw that I saw the giant Gundam that Japan made, and I saw that it could like move while it's on its base. Is it able to move while not on the base anymore?
Well, it can move far from the base. Like
Oh no.
it like has
so
like
cool.
it has like an arm that's connected to its back that I'm guessing is like hydraulics and stuff, but like it can move like probably like a few yards.
Yes.
We're so
Thank
close
you.
to having
That's
Avas.
that's probably my favorite, but truly my favorite thing that came out of quarantine. Everywhere else was shutting down and like not having a good time. Japan was like, let's build a mecha.
Yeah, they were just like
Let's build a real one.
all of the older Japanese people were just like, you know what I really liked when I was little? Model kits. You know what we should
Do you
do?
have life-size Gunpla?
We should totally make a giant Gundam. And everybody in Japan was just like, that's great. The Japanese government approved. This is fine. This is amazing. This will be our new national icon. The fucking oh, what is it? The C-137? Is that it? The C-137. That sounds like something familiar. I could be saying something else. But like literally just the fucking G Gundam just standing there. Japan, they
So
take down the
happy.
fucking national flag. Everybody salute the Gundam.
Salute the Gundam, dude.
Um,
I wish America would like latch onto things like that in our culture and build it in, because like they've done the same thing with like Godzilla too, because Godzilla's a nationally known character. They have multiple statues of him.
Yeah, Japan.
They have like Godzilla statues where his head is just like peeking out over like buildings in like
Yeah, it's weird. Like
in proper city.
Japanese media is like they're like cultural cults in Japan. Like, do you know about like the One Piece statues all over Japan?
No.
There are golden life size like 1-to-1 statues of all the main crew of One Piece in Japan.
That's awesome.
And one of them is in Oda's hometown, like the Luffy one. And like
That's really good.
during what was it, 2 or 3, I think it was like 2 years ago, there was during like the Japanese Spring Festival, right? which I think that's Golden Week. I'm not sure. They in like Tokyo, it was like Kyoto or something like that. Their festival was One Piece themed. Like each day for a week was different stuff happening. You could go to a different vendor, and there was One Piece official stuff there, like in the entire city that they were celebrating it. It's bonkers how like media influences Japan. Meanwhile, here in America, they're just like, get that pussy shit out of here.
Yeah. Give me a beer.
Yeah. I mean, like, Japanese people like beer too, but like, they're just like beer and anime. But a couple more things. All the Persona games from 3 and up are getting ports to, I think, everything. I think just about every console and playable device.
I don't think it's coming to Switch. Because that was announced
Yes.
during the Microsoft conference, so it's coming to
Yes.
Steam and it's coming to Xbox. Switch yet again.
My favorite
Bye-bye.
thing. My favorite thing about E3 was always that like Microsoft would have like a content exclusive, and then it'd have the Wii U logo in the corner.
I
Last-
loved whenever they were like world exclusive premiere, and it was something that Sony just showed off an hour before.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, guys. Bad communication. Sonic Frontier shows some gameplay. Open world Sonic game. They confirmed that the stuff that we have seen so far, IGN confirmed it, that this is like a early build.
Oh, they did? Thank God.
They showed off boss fights and some things. It looks really good. They recently just had like the news conference thing, like the World Gaming Expo or something like that, and like the demo was there and people were playing it, and some people got some leaks of it. They look like, besides the open world, like you can go to other worlds and like you can actually play like full levels, like 3D levels.
Okay.
Looks pretty cool. Back to some manga news. The Berserk manga is continuing on June 24th by Koichi Mori, who is Murata's best friend and close cohort, consultant on a lot of his ideas for Berserk. With Observation, he's continuing the manga. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, kind of emotional. Last but not least, I put in my notes Once Piece. Not One Piece, Once Piece.
Once Piece.
Some fan I am. One Piece is going on a hiatus on the 27th of June till July 25th, a month-long hiatus. Oda was told by his editor that he has to go on vacation because he's preparing for the final saga, which sounds like One Piece is ending soon. The quickest saga in One Piece was 2 years. The latest saga in One Piece has been for over 10. So between 10 and a little over 10 years, a little over 10 years to 2 years is what we have for One Piece left. So that's like another decade somewhere.
I remember reading an interview with him last year where he said that he's going to end it soon. And when somebody asked him to clarify what he meant, he said probably the next 5 years.
He also said that like before the time skip. He was just
I
like,
know.
yeah, One Piece is like 50% of the way done. And then Oda was just like, you know what? I lied. But yeah, that's all I have for news. If you're ready
I've
to
got
move
two
on.
more
Oh,
things.
2 more things. All right.
Oh boy. After 27 years of being horribly slow and freezing after opening more than 2 tabs, Internet Explorer will be has officially shut down its services.
Oh, that's okay. yes, it has.
Um,
Don't use
Man.
Internet Explorer, people.
so sad. Don't use it. If you are still using it, don't be on the internet.
Yeah, well, it's a security
Just-
risk. Yeah.
Yeah. God. It's so bad. Also, if you're using Safari still, please go home. And if you are home, find a new one. And the final thing that I have for news is our O.J. Simpson case has finally come to an end, and Johnny Depp has won the court case, being awarded $15 million in total.
I thought you just said R. I thought you said R/OJ Simpson.
R/OJ Simpson.
I was like
What a
R/OJ
wonderful
Simpson case.
article.
That's an interesting subreddit.
Yeah, but he was awarded $15 million for winning it. Amber Heard was awarded $2 million in damages. So it's more like Johnny won $13 million at this point. And apparently Amber Heard, either her or her lawyers are going to file for an appeal.
Because they said Amber's too broke.
Yeah, she apparently can't pay the $15 million. There's a chance that Johnny might not even like make her pay it. The fact that he's won it is like good enough, potentially good enough for him. He's already been lined up for movies again. His career and stature has apparently been almost completely reinstated, which is great. Good for him. What a horrible situation to have been in.
Yeah, it's, and I think the worst part about it is the fact that like it went on for so long, just for so many different things to come up and to be disproven, and people were just trying so hard to make it worse for him, and just for no reason.
Yeah. And that's all I've got. So I think we're going to move on to the main event.
Bubble. Bubble was released May 13th, 2022 in Japan on Netflix. It's a Netflix original with an insanely stacked cast. Let us tell you, it was made by WIT in cooperation with Warner Brothers and Nitro Plus. The director was Tetsuri Araki, and the music was composed by Hiroyuki Sawano. And that's just like the start of it, right? We've talked about this on our first episode, that Bubble's production team was stacked. So many great things lined up for the movie. And I also noticed that once I got into the movie that the voice actors were stacked. Now, I watched in sub. Vincent watched it in dub.
Yeah.
But to give you some idea, Yuki Kaji, one of Japan's most notable voice actors who voice acts literally everybody. They have all of the cool people in anime that you know. Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins, Eren Yeager, Todoroki from My Hero. Yeah, he has a very notable voice. If you've heard him before, you know who he is. He's also Phoenix Wright in the Phoenix Wright anime. Everybody know that? It's crazy.
Oh.
And Momoru Miano, another very notable voice actor. He's been the voices of multiple people that people know, like Death the Kid from Soul Eater, Crollo from Hunter x Hunter, Dazai from Bungo Stray Dogs, and the list just goes on. He's Light from Death Note. He's one of the most notorious voice actors in all of anime history. And the list goes on. Crazy people working on this, and just right off the bat, out of 10? What do you give it?
A 10. This is like the easiest 10 that I've ever been able to give. This movie, I didn't really know what to expect going into it, aside from it just gonna be like a very pretty movie. And this like captured something from my childhood growing up. I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to say nowadays that you've not seen a Ghibli movie. And one of my favorites growing up was always Ponyo. And I have always wanted to be able to watch Ponyo again for the first time, because the first time was just a very like magical feeling experience for me, and this movie is the closest I've ever gotten to that.
Yeah, what got to me was the opening scene. So like, I didn't really think too much of it. I just thought like, I'd go through this and like, we'll talk about it. But the opening scene with like the visuals captured me. Then when the opening track hit, okay, for one, like they had like the sounds, right? Which I don't know if like the sound that Uta makes, like her song and like the bubble sound.
So
We're gonna go.
good,
We're gonna go straight into this, guys. So like, if you haven't watched Bubble, just stop it now. Thank you for
Stop
listening.
now. Watch it.
Thank you for listening.
If you don't have a Netflix subscription, steal it from your friend. We know that you have it.
Just come back at the last 5 or 10 minutes of the episode. We could talk to you then. But
Yeah.
getting the dun 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 dun, that sounded like a Wind Waker song for one.
No, right?
And two, it just brought me in. And then the opening's by Eve. And if you don't know who Eve is, like Eve has done like so many different anime openings. Like
They did Kakai Katan, which is from Jujutsu Kaisen.
yeah, that's what they're most notably known for. But they have a lot of really good songs. They're in this movie Paprika. Then they sing the opening song for that too, and it's really good too. The song just captivated me. Once I heard that, I was just like, okay, this movie has me. This movie's just The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
And like they talk about The Little Mermaid. Japan has this weird obsession about making their own anime renditions of fairy tale stories, because like Belle, have you heard of Belle?
Yeah, I know about Belle. I've been meaning to watch it.
Yeah, we can do an episode about Belle because like that's really cool.
I think
like,
we talked about it. I think you're the one who told me about it, and it was on an episode of the podcast.
yeah. So like Belle is just Beauty and the Beast, like a very almost one-to-one with different mediums story of Beauty and the
Done
Beast.
in like virtual reality, right?
Yeah, but like
Cool. Or cyberspace.
but Bubble is like if The Little Mermaid met Evangelion, because it's just. At first, I didn't understand it, but by the end of the movie, I know exactly what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, it's a movie that has like one or two scenes. So, the one scene that happens, it's kind of like 15 minutes into the movie. Makoto, who's the scientist, has like a quick recap of what happened, like what the bubble fall phenomenon really was, which was much needed because we could like that was something very we could assume stuff, but it was good to get that explained, right? By the way, Makoto, like she could wife me up if she wants to. You know, I felt like Kai was the orange haired dude, and like he was like crushing on her the entire movie. Relatable, by the way. But
The character design, fantastic. Again, the staff and like production team for this was incredible. The character designs again were done by Takeshi Obata, who's the guy who did Death Note, Bakuman, and Hikaru no Go, which is some of like, as far as artwork for manga and anime goes, some of my favorites.
really funny that Mamoru Miano's in it because like light, he's light. Yeah. So like he got to work with somebody that he used to work with. Small world Japan is. But the second time that they really did like a monologue type thing was like at the end when like the whole when big shit's happening, she kind of like explains that like the music is something only Uta and Hibiki can hear, which if you didn't know, Uta means song,
Yeah.
and hibiki means echo. So they're both sound. Their
Oh.
names are both sound related.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
So also, Yuki Kaji voices Soulburner from Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and like I couldn't. And Kai means fire, and like I couldn't get those two like away. And when he kept saying, whenever he said Blue Blaze, I just thought about Soulburner summoning a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster. But yeah, this movie did such a okay. It looked amazing. It sounded amazing. Voice actors amazing, and story wise, very simple. At the end, I did kind of get like emotional. I didn't like want to
Yeah.
cry, but I was just like, oh, this is really sad. But like,
I wanted to cry.
it didn't have to explain everything, which a lot of the times movies just don't know how to explain things well enough that somebody doesn't have to monologue it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes the narrator can tell some things, but I think it really leads credence to how well this movie was made when you don't have to, like, everything can be picked up on. Not everything has to be explained. Some things are explained just to give it more backing, but like everything you can just get from watching it. Like by the end you know exactly what happened. God, yeah, this movie's just it's if the Little Mermaid did parkour in Evangelion. That's exactly what I think it is. So yeah, the story
I
about
never
this.
realized how much I needed a parkour anime in my life.
So this movie was about so Tokyo 4 years ago when this from when the movie takes place. A phenomenon happens around the world called the bubble fall phenomenon, right? Where bubbles come from the sky and then they just kind of happened, like the bubbles were just falling, right? And Tokyo was ground zero for a big bubble surrounding only Tokyo. No other surrounding area. All the bubbles stopped everywhere else, and only started in the bubble surrounding Tokyo, and it caused a bunch of disaster to happen because the bubbles had water inside of them. So Tokyo started to flood. So people had to leave Tokyo, but then Tokyo itself became a hub for like people who no longer wanted to live within the law, but it
As
wasn't.
well as orphans
Yeah, so like
after the disaster. Because a lot of people died.
yeah, so like a lot of people had died during the bubble fall phenomenon in Tokyo, and like Vincent said, a lot of them were orphans who had no longer anywhere to go. Their homes were destroyed. Like people's homes were destroyed, their families were dead, so they just decided to go somewhere where they were free. Really sad when you think about it because like it's exciting parkour when the movie starts and everything like that. But
Yeah.
a game starts. I don't know what they called it in the dub, but it's called Tokyo Battle Core in the sub.
I believe it's the same name.
Okay. It's called Tokyo Battle Core, Battle and Parkour, where teams are created to it's just capture the flag, but parkour. And
Yeah.
they bet resources against each other for like a game slash survival.
Yeah.
During the first game, the Blue Blazes, which are the main characters' teams, the Blue Blazes face off against the I forget their names. I think they're called the Dinky Ninjas. I think Dinky Ninja is just one of the people. They face off against the yellow team. They're all color coordinated, but they face off with them in a match. Everybody's doing crazy parkour. This movie does does animation so fluidly. Wit really went out of their way to make this look as beautiful as they could.
I missed watching stuff from Studio Wit, dude. I mean, like, what? It was in like 2018 where Wit was made or something like that. I know
Yeah,
Netflix
it
had
was-
like an alliance between Production IG and Studio Bones. I think
Yeah.
that might be Studio Wit now.
Yeah, I feel like after everybody saw Visions, they were just like, all right, we know what they're doing. And out of during the parkour, everybody's going for the flags. They're tackling people in the water. Blue Blazes has this little kid who's an orphan. It's really sad whenever he talks about being an orphan. Like, he laughs about it, but it's like really sad. I imagine this is how Robins cope with Batman. He falls. He tries to jump off of a bubble, because bubbles like kind of just float in the atmosphere in Tokyo now. Very dangerous though, because we see later on that like a duck flies into a bubble and it just loses all sense of gravity. And the main character, Hibiki, goes in and saves the little kid from possibly falling into a big spiral. They call it an antlion like an antlion hole, which was just like a big typhoon vortex that's red. So it probably leads to nowhere good. Hibiki goes and saves him. Hibiki is like crazy at parkour. He wears headphones. Visually, he looks like a really cool MC, but he just does parkour. He saves him, goes, captures the flag, wins the battle for the team. The cast that we get are like really basic. Like they fill in like Hibiki's the cool guy. Kai's like the secondary cool guy that's mad at the first cool guy. We have the little kid, we have the nerd with glasses, and then we have the big strong guy, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the wise, muscular, hot captain, and then the hot woman that's just there.
The hot scientist.
Yeah, the hot scientist. They live on a Coast Guard ship called the Rayo. I tried to look if this was like an actual ship, and all I was getting were not Coast Guard ships. But that's where they live. They live in a ship. Something that I thought about towards the end of the movie, because like we see that the structures are getting destroyed as time goes on, right? Like just stepping on parts of buildings when they parkour, like just total decimation, right? How long did they think that they were going to live there? You know,
I don't think they were really worried about that.
you know, because like 4 years, that's like deterioration. Like that's pretty crazy deterioration. But like that, just imagine like the boats were the only other livable places that they could have been like living on, because like the steel beams would eventually like rust and break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention the random black holes that suddenly appeared.
Excuse me, they're called spider webs, which just don't make any sense. So the bubble phenomenon is like so interesting in this movie, because like they're bubbles. Do you want to talk about this out of order? We've kind of already went into spoiler territory.
Yeah, no. Let's just go for it.
Okay, so like the this is so weird to talk about. This is so weird to say out loud. So the bubbles are aliens, right? And they seemingly have the ability to like just say no to the laws of physics. Like
Yeah, they're able to break through time, space, and the laws of gravity.
yeah, like they can make black holes. They can make like tiny nexuses where time no longer exists. They can attack people. And from the end of the movie that we see like that
They're also biblically accurate angels.
like yes. But like seemingly there's only okay, each this is so confusing. The bubbles are a consciousness, right? They're sentient beings, but we don't know if like they're really a hive mind or they're just two bubble sentiences that have big bodies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Uta, the main character, is a bubble girl. Like you thought slime girls were cool, she's a bubble girl.
Bubble Girl better.
So
Bubble Girl better.
this is so weird. Not Uta, Hibiki goes off like during the night after the match, goes to Tokyo Tower because he hears stuff. So Hibiki has like really sensitive hearing. It's a scientific term for like for what he has is called hyperacusis. Hyperacusis,
I believe
where
so.
like sounds can be painful and unbearing, like even like common noises that like me or you could hear, like a honking or like people just talking, sometimes shouting, can be unbearable, sometimes damaging because of how sensitive his ears are. So he wears headphones seemingly with no music just to muffle out the noise, and he goes to Tokyo Tower. He tries to climb the top of Tokyo Tower, but Tokyo Tower is just like, nope. And he gets pushed off, like, because gravity just doesn't exist in Tokyo Tower. And he falls into the ocean. And apparently the train still works. Did you see that? Like, the train works underwater, or the bus just flows underwater.
Yeah.
It just goes. He gets knocked into a rusted out bus, and like his jacket gets caught, and he drowns. But then a little bubble sees it, right? A little bubble comes up. It tries to save him, and then an air bubble from Hibiki's mouth hits the bubble, and then the bubble does cellular division and becomes a person. That's exactly how like cellular division looks like when an organism grows. Uta is Hibiki's daughter. Hibiki is a dad. Yeah. That's like the way that I saw it.
Maybe.
The bubble girl copies the first thing that she sees, and the first thing she sees is like the J-pop star on the side of the abandoned bus, who's probably doesn't look like that anymore. She also has like wacky clothing, but she goes over and she gives all of her bubble air to Hibiki and gives him mouth to mouth, and they kiss, and she saves him, and they go back to the Rayo, and Hibiki brings home a girl, and they're just like, "Who is this?" And it's just like, "I don't even know. She saved me," and they let her live with them. They're really nice people, because I wouldn't have done that, especially in this semi-post-apocalyptic Tokyo, where resources seem to be scarce and they're put on parkour games. But yeah, I don't want to like recap the story, but there's so many like cool elements. So there's like 4 teams that we see: the Blue Blazes, there's the Red
Mad Lobsters.
the Mad Lobsters, man. It's so I want to be on the Mad Lobsters. I don't know what the yellow team is. They look pretty basic, but then we have like
they're the ninja leaders.
ninja leaders, okay, and then we have the creepy weeaboos. They're what are they called? They called them like
the morticians. The morticians.
Yeah,
I think they were also called the Undertakers.
They're
at one
called
point.
the Undertakers. I think the morticians were like they were calling them that as like an insult.
Yeah,
But like that just sounds so cool. Which are literally just 4chan users if they knew parkour. That's all that they are. The leader's a creep. He has like an AI that talks for him. He also when he takes off his mask towards the end, he totally looks like that guy from Black Clover. You know what I'm talking about on the Black Bulls?
Yeah.
He just looks like
no.
him. He's creepy. And
You want to buy these shoes?
yeah, he's like, "You want to buy these shoes?" No. But I do think that was cool, because I did think those shoes were cool, but they were used by the wrong people.
Yeah.
yeah, it just this movie, like there's so many cute scenes. Later on, Uta follows Hibiki up to like his flower place, and like they have a moment together, and like she picks up the shell, and like he says like the other guys would would laugh at me if they found out that I had this, but like this place is such a peaceful place and the sounds are so nice, and like it's just so appealing. Like I said before in the first episode that if this movie was just 2 hours of parkour, I would like be cool with it, because like honestly now I would have been cool if this movie had no talking. But like visually, if this was just an animated wallpaper that had sounds for 2 hours, like just like a scene of like the flowers that he had, like the flower garden he had,
Mm-hmm.
as a waving image, I'd pay for that.
Yeah. No, I feel the same.
It's just
It's a very, very visually appealing and audio appealing movie.
and then towards the end, so they face off against the the Undertakers kidnap Makoto like a bunch of bums. Also, they just look creepy. They just they just have those uniforms and like those masks, and it's just like they look like they're killers, but they're just parkour people that live stream. They're VTubers. Um, yeah, there's like different aspects about it I really like. Um, they have that transition scene where like you see the cups up top, and then you see like an additional cup, and it's supposed to be Uta's cup.
Yeah.
Towards the end, Uta like finds out that like she has to like go back to the other bubbles and stuff like that. See, like that's where I'm confused. Like, are there two sentient bubble beings, or are they a hive mind? You know,
Um,
because Uta is
I'm
herself. Like she was just one bubble,
yeah.
but she
I'm not
created
too
more
sure.
bubbles. I don't know. It was a beautiful, beautiful film. I know you gave it a 10 out of 10. I'd give it a 9.8. There something just I don't think it's perfect. It is just a rendition of The Little Mermaid. She reads The Little Mermaid in it, and she quotes. The only sentences she has are just quotes from The Little Mermaid, which I don't think is bad, but
What do you
I
mean? She has a great quote that isn't from the Little Mermaid. Uh, I'll crush them, Hibiki. I'll crush them,
super
because the morticians at one point they kidnap Makoto, and they're like, okay, we're gonna have a special death game run, where the special prize is gonna be Makoto. Why? um
yeah, they're
but
just like we're gonna get so much
like
ad
Uda's
revenue.
so mad. Uda is really mad. She read me a story once.
Yeah, she read me The Little Mermaid. Um, I thought it was really interesting. Makoto's not there, so like we're told that everybody that is there because they just left Japan. They just went to Tokyo to like be free and everything like that, except Makoto. Makoto is the only person that's seemingly there because she's doing research about the bubble fall phenomenon. And she has people on the outside of the bubble who she's feeding information to, and they're feeding information to her. And Shin, who is the captain of it all, he is an old parkour master, and we see that he's actually a paraplegic. He lost his leg because he went up Tokyo Tower, very similar to Hibiki, and he ended up losing his leg. Which the final scene was, oh my god, the final scene like literally gave me goosebumps. Like when they were going to Tokyo Tower to save Uta,
Yeah, man.
it it was so cool. And then when Shin came up and like he was doing like the tricks and everything like that, I was just like, wow, this is like full circle. A part of me wants to give it a perfect score, but I'm just like, it gets as close to perfect as like I'll give it. I don't think any movie is like super perfect, but like it it was a really great movie. Um, Uta eventually goes back to her bubble alien friends, and they don't like leave Earth because like we see like after time like bubbles are still there, but like they're just trying to rebuild what Tokyo has left because at this point Tokyo is a part of the ocean because Tokyo's been flooded so much by the water. But they're rebuilding what they can. So yeah, I don't know. It was a great movie. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No, I don't.
It
Just
was
made me happy the entire time.
Yeah, it was so good. It engaged me, and I feel like they knew that people weren't gonna like sit for like something super heavy, so like they just were just like we're gonna take this, we're gonna put it on its head, and we're gonna make it badass. But yeah, no, Bubble is a great movie. I highly recommend it if you want to watch something very akin to a Ghibli movie, like you were saying. Very cool, a new twist on the Little Mermaid story. Not the Disney one, like the classic Little Mermaid. Or it's translated to the Little Mermaid, but I'm pretty sure it's called the Mermaid Princess in every other country. Because that's what they say. And that's what they were saying in the sub. They weren't saying the Little Mermaid. They were saying Ningyo Hime, which is like fish girl princess. But yeah, no. If you don't have anything else, I mean, I think I think this might be the end
I think so.
of time because
Oh.
two spider webs are coming to get us.
Uh-oh. No.
Not the spider webs. God,
Time to sing.
the fucking bubbles were like, oh, and they were singing in this movie. Oh my god, it was. Go watch Bubble.
Go watch Bubble, please. Welcome back to our people who decided to skip to the last 5 to 10 minutes of the podcast.
Go watch Bubble.
We go watch Bubble. Again, I know you skipped us saying skip to hear from us saying just go watch Bubble, but again, go watch Bubble.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
The podcast has ended.
Yeah.
Go home and watch Bubble.
Yeah. It's definitely worth it for an hour and 41 minutes.
Yeah.
And you might actually like watch the entire credits because the ending song's really good. It's sung by Uta's voice actress. So
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the end. That's the end of the episode. Thank you guys for listening. I don't really have anything else. Do you have anything else you want to say before we roll into the credits here?
I've got nothing.
Go watch Bubble.
Go watch Bubble.
That's it. Once again, thank you guys for listening. We're about to hit our little milestone soon. This is episode 8. 2 more episodes, and we're episode 10. That's pretty. We've been doing this for a little bit now. I feel like we're podcast veterans, but we're not.
But,
well,
we're getting there.
yeah. Day by day, we get older. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah.
I do have one more thing to say.
Okay. I kind of was drawing a blank right now.
We've been looking at some of the analytics and stuff, and I just want to give a big shout out. Like I knew that we would get some people listening in the US, but shout out to our people in Belgium and Russia. You're cool for listening to us. It's awesome that we actually have even if it's just for listening for 5 minutes, just reaching people globally is something that I thought was going to be a far off thing, and it's already happened.
Yes, thank you for our one Russian viewer. We love you.
I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah, everybody in Belgium, we love you too. Keep listening, share it. But Anyway, thank you for listening. That was today's episode on Bubble. If you want to listen to us, check us out every other week on every platform that has podcasting. We're on everything except Pandora for some reason.
And iHeartRadio. Come on, guys, get on it.
No, we're on iHeartRadio. It's just
Wait,
Pandora.
okay, Pandora, come on.
Yeah. Shout out to Ultimate Maverick X for our logo and our art. If you want to talk to us and get a hold of us and ask us anything, you can add us on our social medias. I'm at lying_mask on Twitter.
I'm Vincent Barlow 8 on Twitter.
And you can get a hold of us at Domestic BF Pod on Twitter as well. Everything is going to be in any of the descriptions that you see. Follow us on all of those to get notifications. If you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, everything is uploaded to there too. Just great to do another episode. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you, beautiful people.